That was my first time really being down in England playing in a big stadium, and to be fair, it is a proper stadium. From outside it's got a bit of stature, but actually going in, and obviously it's right in the ground, so the stadium's massive, atmosphere's good, and yeah, we played a good Man United team at the time, so you were fully focused.
Rooney and
Rio Ferdinand, they had a really good team, but we ground out
Who were you up against, or were you just sitting back like everybody else?
I was playing on the left, but like a sixth defender. Not sure who it was. I think it was one of the Brazilian twins.
Oh, Rafael, I think. Yeah.
Who'd have been playing right wing for Man United then? Nani,
Valencia, maybe?
Valencia.
So, but they were a proper team, like challenging at the top, and 80,000 fans. It was a great atmosphere, and it will be again tonight because it is two British teams going at it.
Was Sir Alex the manager then?
I think it was.
Was he?
Aye. So it was a great occasion, especially when one of the first times you're playing in a big a Champions League contender away from home.
What way round was it again? Did you start the game at Old Trafford and not at Celtic Park?
Yeah, started the game at Old Trafford. Had a bit of a nightmare, if I'm being totally honest.
In what way?
Quite just one of those games where nothing was going right. You know, ball was going to my foot and out of play. I was giving the ball away. I think I was playing against Gary Neville and turned him a couple of times, went past him, I thought, and the next time he tackled me. Just one of those games where it's hard, I think, in European games, especially like Old Trafford. You have to do as much as you can when you've got the ball because you have it for such a small amount of time. And I didn't do enough that night, so quite rightly.
But then
you had a bit of onus on you though in that Celtic team.
Is that tough as a winger?
Your teammates would look at you as if, go on, you do something for us, won't they?
But then to be fair, like Naka scored the free kick, didn't he? Big Jan scored the, I think it was like a flick on, wasn't it? And he got in the end of it. So we scored 2 goals, you know, off the cuff. But again, as a winger, it's a winger at any club here. That's what I keep telling, like, players so similar to me, you know, my kids as well. It's like it's not what you've done. You can't affect that. It's like, you know, confidence. It's what you do next. And if your strength is beating players, like probably mine was, it's having that confidence and that belief that you keep doing it again.
You see the Nakamura free kick. We've all seen how many free kicks you've seen that you know, find the back of the net, but you feel like that is genuinely hard to beat. Like still every time you see it.
So it's the second one, the home game.
The home game.
I don't think I've seen a free kick better than that. I mean,
he's far out as well.
It's so far out. It's against Van der Sar as well. See that the amount of people have like said this to down in, because you know the way the Scottish game is viewed. You know, it's not viewed the same way we view it. And people talk about someone that's got a good left foot. I used to always have this argument at Everton, do you remember? Like everyone used to go like Bainsey, best left foot I've ever seen. I'm like, not a patch on Nakamura. And they're like, Nakamura? And I'm like, watch us. And I'm getting up his free kick and like, I've never seen a free kick like that. And then getting like the video, I'm hitting the ball in the bus window. I'm looking like an absolute madman. Look at this video, he's sitting a cup off the top of social media. He's sitting a cup off the top of a wedding cake.
Is he acting like Nakamura's agent down at Everton, trying to convince everybody?
Us down there, you did have a bit of they disregarded a lot of Scottish football and the standard of it. But so many players that have done well in England come up to Scotland and can't deal with it because it is a different game, a bit more physical. So you do try and fly the flag for the Scottish game.
My hero, and still my hero to this day, when I speak to him, I still call him King. It's King Kerry. And I speak to him as much as I can, usually get him on holiday. And he was convinced that I would get a game for Liverpool with him and Ian Rush. I wasn't. I believed in my own ability, but in those days there was only 2 subs, and I thought Frank McGarvey, who was my old teammate at Celtic, had been there. Did I think I was better than Frank? I think I was different from Frank. I think I was more suited to Liverpool than Frank. But I could not see how I was going to get into this team in 1983 because they're the best team in the world at the time.
They're incredible, aren't they?
And I decided that was the reason that I didn't join Liverpool.
You mentioned there was a few other clubs there, Arsenal, Liverpool. What were some of the others? Do you remember?
Spurs was the first one that spoke to me, who was obviously Arsenal's great rivals. Manchester United, I spoke to Ron Atkinson, who I didn't particularly enjoy being with. And Inter Milan was the foreign club that I was seriously considering going to Inter Milan.
I could picture Charlie in Milan.
The problem was that they told me that I wasn't allowed to go out and socialise very often, and I thought, There's no way I'm
up
going to
with
Milan and not going out.
I'll give you an example. We played Barcelona, so I had to man mark Ronaldinho. The manager said to me, "You have to man mark me."
Not be Motherwell, you're next.
Listen, no. It was exciting. You know, I was man marking out a page. Just excitement. You play against Ronaldinho, Barcelona. It was really. The next game we played Heaps. I had Brownie chasing me all game and kicking me on my face, and I'm thinking, this is different. This is completely different. But you have to switch on. You have to make sure you do it, because the fans don't see that. They know that there's an issue there from European game to domestic, but they don't care. They're there to support you. They want to win. They want to make sure that when the final whistle go, you win the game. And you have to find a solution.
How did you do against Ronaldinho? That's the important question.
I thought, you know what?
How many
A couple
step-overs
months
did you
ago,
limit him
I
to?
watched it with one of my younger boy, the game, and I actually thought I'd done well. I was nowhere near him.
Do you know what I'm interested though? Because we've spoken to Stan before. When you arrive here as a young man, what's your journey like, and when do you really realise what those expectations are like? You know, what the standards are like.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't realise. Like I was actually a Rangers fan, you know, kind of later on because of Brian Laudrup. And my dad used to fly over and watch Brian play and stuff like that with my mum, and they went up in Highlands and stuff, and always come home and say, "You play in Scotland?" I was like,
I thought players just said that. I thought that was always a lie when they said they've always followed the team.
No, but
it
it wasn't from when I was young, but when Brian came and I followed Rangers, and because I loved him and his brother and that. So when I came, my brother had just signed for St Johnstone, so lucky I had him, and it's helped me settle in as a young boy, only 20 years old. But it was a strange thing because I know I got brought in and I got into first team change, but I was kind of with the academy, the reserve team most, trained with the first team every day, but I was playing there and up and down kind of a lot. And I found out that it was actually, the Advocate had no idea about me really. It was David Murray who brought me in because of Brian Laudrup. So Brian had told him to go and get me. So David Advocate didn't really know anything about me, and that's why I get put on the left wing. Because of my pace. Well, I was a striker all my life. I've been up front playing number 9 all the time, but I was running out there. So there was a lot of changes for me I had to deal with for being used to just scoring goals for fun and young, coming through, and everything's just going like this to come to Rangers, and they're like, what the hell is happening here? I'm out at left wing. I was just in the end happy to get a blue jersey on, just play, because I did look at the team I walked into with the superstars that was in it. You know, it was ridiculous. So
in the long run, did it help you?
100%. Had it not been for Arthur Newman, probably, and I don't tell him if I said that, but it'd probably come out now anyway. But he helped me so much because he was my left back, and he basically told me, I don't want to see you anywhere near me. Just focus on going that way. I'll deal with the defensive. Just listen to what I tell you, and then just go and do what you do. And it helped me settle down so much. Had I not had that kind of guidance and help from players like that, then I would have probably been lost out there trying to figure out what I'm doing in a 4-4-2 in the left wing. You know, we've never done that. But it probably also got the goals that I get because I was a striker in my head. So when you look at crosses coming in, I was attacking front post and I was there all the time. You know, back goals, if you see the goals are scored, it was crosses coming in, I'm in there. Don't see that now with wingers. They're hanging about outside and waiting and all this. But that was because in my head I was playing the wrong position for 5.5 years, basically. Except when we played Celtic, you put me up front and then back out again against Falkirk next week. You know what I mean? It's like, but because of my pace. But it was for me, I loved to get used to the atmospheres and the expectations of Rangers.
You're the same because you both played in that era where like Barca, AC Milan, Man United. Is there like one player or one standout moment that you think, like, you know, that's the Champions League level? Is there just so many?
I think it's just the quickness. They're thinking, or they know their pass before they get the ball a lot of the time, and you're going to close them down, but you're too late. Or one chance, one moment, a Nakamura free kick that's the defining moment of the game. That was for me the biggest thing, the speed of it and the quality of the touch. There wasn't a bad touch 50-50 much in their games.
You know, so I was the same. Not one moment in particular, but I think it was maybe the AC Milan game. And you know, if you're comparing it to like SPL games at the time, the ball goes into midfield and it's bouncing, and it goes into a centre mid and it's maybe getting flicked on, and the ball's coming to Seedorf and he's just like chesting it with two players around him and just
holding somebody off.
Yeah, I think that. Do you remember the Barcelona game where we lost? And I was absolutely devastated after it. We lost. Messi scored twice, didn't he? Henry scored that one. We lost 3-2. I was devastated after it because I was like, that's a different
Amazing.
level. That's a different level completely. Like Deco getting the ball, Deco, and zinging out to Ronaldinho 6 times in a row, straight to his chest, and him holding me Paul Caddis off. Victor Valdez throwing the ball to Yaya Toure in centre mid, and he's holding it, chesting it down, taking a touch and playing it to someone. I was like,
so in a small
chance you got,
moment, your AC Milan game that you performed, and how do you then feel coming off after that game when you've been a big player in a Champions League game?
oh, that was my first proper experience that that was my first start in the Champions League. But you know what it's like when you're a young player, nothing's really expected of you, is it? You're a bit fearless, and I think I got into the game really well. I think the first time I got it, done a step over down the line, went past, it was Colaccini I was playing against, hit a good cross in, next time I came inside, had a shot, just went over the bar. I came off after that game thinking, it's just, again, playing against, like, the level was unbelievable, but I was going, playing against top players and you can handle it, so for me it was amazing. But
I think Gary Neville.
I think it's always going to be like this.
Gary Neville brought
This is easy. This is easy.
When I thought this is Champions League, I was actually not even playing the game. I was at Celtic. I was out with a back injury for a period, and it was a Barcelona game. I was watching them warm up, and Ronaldinho.
The same game I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Ronaldinho was at the halfway line, and I can't remember who was down on the byline, but they were taking it chest volley. It was just insane. And I'm thinking,
one thing I noticed,
that's the
actually,
level.
talking about the Barcelona game, so we grow up, you've got to work hard, you've got to be up and down the pitch. Watch Messi for 10 minutes and he literally stood right in front of the dugouts on the halfway line and didn't move. But everybody else is going about, and he's just waiting. I got going through his career, he started talking about that, saying I was just smarter, I wasn't running up and down, I was just waiting for my moment. But to notice the trust these guys had in their teammates to go, I'm not moving, I'll get the ball eventually, whereas we're all firing about everywhere over the pitch trying to cover space.
I suppose in Messi's situation it's slightly different, isn't it? Like,
just a bit.
some carry the piano and some play it, don't they? So he's got 10 other players who knew how good he was. So he did that. But you're right, what you're saying, having that trust in your teammates.
But we grow up and everybody's got to run forward, everybody's got to run back. But it was a totally different game to these guys. They just waited, and it was just
even what you're saying about the warm-up there. I think what a warm-up's like in Scotland. Got to be at it, lads, the warm-up. You go out for a warm-up and it's like, keep your uppies, wee rondo, passing each other, couple of jogs. I watch it all the time and I'm like, why is that so different to what we do? It's the mentality.
It's a mentality thing, yeah.
Did you get a shirt in your first new camp?
So I was, through my career, my debut, I always try to keep my shirt.
Of course.
Come on at the new camp, coming off, and I'm with Thuram, last 2 players off the pitch, and I'm like, I can't turn this down.
Yeah.
So I swapped my debut Champions League top with Thuram, so I've got his, which was a good one to get, really good one.
You must have loads.
I've got a few.
He's going to
on,
drop
get
some
some
names
names.
here. I'm
Come
considering.
on, name dropping that. I've got a wall of it. I've got a wall in my house of like kind of my 10 tops that I got framed. Kaká, Pirlo, Puyol, Iniesta.
This is like a Ballon d'Or shortlist.
It's hard though when people say it, but I've also got a couple of Brazil ones. This isn't Champions League, but we played them and they never had the names in the back of the tops.
That was a nightmare on a friendly.
Just go and get it printed out.
I was thinking about doing it because
He's up with the picture of you in the back.
me standing behind him at the 90th minute going like that. He's a thought, mate.
It's funny though because you get them and you keep them all, but as you get older, you're a bit like, you've got these tops, but what do you do with them now?
And that's why you've got to do. You've got to get them framed. So it's actually something you can look back on. Otherwise, they're just sitting in a cupboard.
It's the same with the national team as well as some of the Champions League early ones. No names on the back, just numbers.
You know,
I was clearing some of my stuff a number of months ago and going through some of the jerseys. A lot of the jerseys I actually couldn't identify what player had wore that jersey. It was just a number. So
you were down to Forge Market getting the name printed on it yourself.
two Brazil ones and 2 France ones. So remember the
who
France
do they
game?
belong to?
Dani Alves and Rubinho, and the France ones Anelka and Makelele.
But they don't have the names.
No.
That is devastating, isn't it?
That's a gutter.
That was one.
That's a gutter.
yeah.
After the international friendlies, you were gutted when it was just.
So that would be friendlies?
Kitmen being lazy. No putting the names on the
It was a friendly, but Rubinho scored and he was at Real Madrid at the time and he was like the kid,
yeah.
He was the top boy in like world football, like kind of probably equivalent to Neymar.
Yeah.
A few years ago, but And I got it, and I was like absolutely buzzing. I'm going, let's just get number 7 in the back. I'm like, no, this is Rubinho's top.
That's it, yeah. Don't believe it.
But no, you know, the funny thing is I had the same at Celtic, and Tommy Burns was incredible for me. You know what he said? He said to me something, and at the start I was thinking, what is he talking about? One day I've just started playing, obviously under Martin, and I'm just progressing nicely. And he sat me one day, and we were talking, and he said, "But Stan, what do you want from life? What do you want to achieve with Celtic as a human being? What you want to be?" I said, "Well, you know, coming from Bulgaria, I want to follow my idols. You know, Stoichkov, he had such a success." And he go, "Yeah, measuring success is different." He said, "You know, when you leave this club, you're gonna become a winner." And I'm like, "Man, what is Tommy saying?" When I left Celtic Football Club, I hated losing. I learned how to fight. I learned how to be a teammate. And even today, when I play, I mean, or did we play 6-a-side?
I've heard.
When you
I've heard
play,
the stories.
when we play for this club, doesn't matter what you take in life, you fight for it. You just don't, because the demand of winning, and this is what Chris touched about you know, Clement at the moment. You know what? You can go and say whatever you want, stats, you can give it that, but it's about winning. Yeah. These two clubs is about winning. Yeah. Fans come here every week, Celtic Go Rangers fans, and they want you to win.
So Tommy Burns knew that your standards would change forever.
Definitely.
After that experience.
Yeah, and he did. He did. You know, when I went to Villa, I remember my debut. We drew 1-1 with West Ham, and everybody was smiling on the bus, and everybody was happy. Everybody, I was like, huh? That would never happen, because Chris, you know, we know when we played, he's like, you lose one game, and you lose it against Rangers, the league is over. They won't make another mistake. There's not now, you know, it's 13, 14, 15 points. No, you lose one game, the league is over.